The Asian Cup knockouts starts tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelt. This tournament so far have given us surprises, has given us absolute belters, have given us absolute big games, have given us performances, and have given us shocks of the world. Iraq beating Japan is a madness. Malaysia drawn against South Korea 3-3. Madness. Palestine qualifying. Madness. Tajikistan qualifying. Like I said, this tournament has given us everything. And in this video, I will be predicting every single game of the knockout. From the round of 16 to the quarterfinals to the semi-final. And I'll give you my winner on who's going to win the Asia Cup of 2024. Before I continue, as you guys know, like, share, and subscribe. Come on, man. Bro, why are you not subscribing? I see a lot of people, by the way, I see the ratio. I see a lot of people watch the videos and they don't subscribe. The subscribe button is literally right there, Ak. It's right there, bro. At least show some love and subscribe. It's literally for free. So why are you not doing it? Please. Back to the video. The first game which I'll be talking about is a team which qualified, which no one really expected them to do so. And that's Tajikistan. Will be facing up against UAE, United Arab Emirates, in a game that, I can't lie, man, does have a shock result written all over it. I'll tell you why, yeah. Listen, Tajikistan was put in a group of China, Qatar, and Lebanon. No one expected Tajikistan to go through, and everyone had them finishing rock bottom in a group which consisted, of course, of China, who's a big nation, Qatar, the host nation and defending champions, and of course Lebanon, who does possess some firepower up front. But in this group, they outperformed China in the first game, where they should have won that game but drew 0-0. Against Qatar, they were very unlucky to lose 1-0, even though they should have at least gotten one goal from that game. And against Lebanon, the last game of the tournament where they had to win, they delivered and won 2-1. And Tajikistan as well, leading up to the tournament, they picked a crucial win against Jordan in the World Cup qualifiers. And I felt like I watched all the 3 games in the group stages. They do have some firepower up front. They like to play quick passes. And bro, they're not as bad as what a lot of people seem like. I, as a watcher, was quite surprised to see them play the way they did. And I can't lie, they can hurt UAE. And speaking of UAE, it wasn't the most convincing performances in the group stages. They beat Hong Kong, which they should be doing anyway, 3-1 in the first game. They drew against Palestine, and to be fair, in a game where they had 10 men throughout the whole second half, they should have lost that game. And against Iran, they lost 2-1, narrowly lost 2-1, which to be fair, they did quite well to even resist that firepower from Iran. But I don't know, man. I'm not very convinced UAE. I feel like they've been relying a lot on the goalkeeper Khalid Isa, who's been performing very good this tournament so far. But listen, most people are going to be saying UAE to win, which is, I mean, I'm not surprised with. But I feel like Tajikistan can pick something from this game. Hence the reason why I will go with the Tajikistan winning this game and qualifying. And on the same day, we have another big game involving one of the favorites to win the tournament, Australia, facing up against Indonesia. Australia, they pretty much dominating the group, which everyone expected to do so. They beat India with ease, with absolute ease. They beat Syria as well, narrowly 1-0. But they should have won a bit more. And of course, they drew against Uzbekistan, which to be fair, Uzbekistan did much better than what a lot of people expected. On the other hand, you got Indonesia, who was in a group of Japan, Iraq, and Vietnam, and they lost 2 games, both against the top favorites of Iraq and Japan. And to be fair, I watched them against Iraq, and they're not the best, bro. They're not the best. And going up against Australia, who's got so much firepower going forward, the midfield will, of course, are much better than Indonesia. And I feel like Indonesia, even the goals which they conceded against Japan and Vietnam, bro, goals which they conceded against Iraq and Japan, bro, it's some easy, sloppy goals. Hence the reason why I've got Australia winning this game comfortably 3-0, 4-1 maybe. The game after that, we've got the host nation, the defending champions, Qatar, going up against Palestine. First of all, Palestine qualifying from this group with everything that's going around that country. Let's come on, man. Let's applaud that. Let's applaud that for a second. Round of applause to that, which is absolutely insane. Qualifying for the first ever time, picking up 3 points, which they've never done, and are also qualifying from that group, which is beautiful scene, especially with what's going on around the country. On the other hand, you've got Qatar, who won every single game. They won it convincingly. They beat Lebanon, they beat China, they beat Tajikistan, and Qatar, bro, they're just too strong, bro. And Mu'izz, Akram Afif, who's having a brilliant tournament, carrying Qatar in the first 2 games against Pakistan, against Lebanon, where he scored against Lebanon and scored against Pakistan, and the last goal, Al Haydous, with that screamer, might arguably be the best goal of the tournament we might see. But let's give a bit of respect to Palestine for, of course, picking up that crucial point against UAE, which made them qualify, and of course beating Hong Kong comfortably. But I feel like Qatar is just a complete different fish, bro. It's a complete different opponent, a complete different level, and I feel like they might just be too much for Palestine to overcome. Hence the reason why I've got Qatar winning this game with a 2-0, 3-1. And then we've got my home country, Iraq, facing up against Jordan in my opinion, could be the game of the knockout stage so far. Jordan has surprised a lot of people. Jordan, in my opinion, has been one of the best teams to watch so far. They beat Malaysia with ease 4-0 in the first game. Against South Korea, they should have won that game but drew 2-2. And against Bahrain, of course, they lost 1-0. Bahrain did quite well, actually, to win that game. Jordan have got players like At-Tamari, who's done brilliantly so far in League R with Montpellier. They've got Mr. Mahdi, who's, of course, scored 2 goals in the first game against Malaysia. But they've got pieces to trouble Iraq. And I feel like they can do something in that game. On the other hand, we've got Iraq, who did history. They picked up 9 points out of 9. They won every single game, including a game which no one expected Iraq to do so against Japan. We have got firepower everywhere on the pitch. We've got 3 strikers who are all different to each other. They can all add something differently, and they all started 1 game in this group stage. Whether it's Ali Al-Hamadi, who started the last game, whether we've got Mimi, who is someone fast, skillful, like to run around the defense, or we've got Ayman Hussein, who's a real dog of a striker, bullies the defenders, pressures the defenders, and like to put his body along the line, and he scored 2 goals against Japan. Like I said, we've got one of the players of the tournament, Ali Jassim. We've got Yusuf Ayman on the right hand side. We've got players, bro, everywhere. We've got Sergio Ramos, like I said, bro, we've got pieces everywhere. And I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to beat Jordan comfortably, this and that. I don't think we are, but we will win this game. I'm telling you right now, we're not losing. We are making it far, far, far in the tournament. Then we've got Uzbekistan against Thailand in a game where I feel like Uzbekistan will take over and dominate this game. Of course, one of the players to watch out for this game, and someone who's been doing quite well in the group stages so far, is Mr. Faysal, who plays for CSKA Moscow in Russia. Scored against India, I believe. But I feel like, listen, Thailand did well to compete with South Korea, but I feel like this game is just too much for Uzbekistan, even though Thailand do have pieces to trouble Uzbekistan, but Uzbekistan is much better, and Uzbekistan will overcome Thailand and qualify from this game. Then, one of the gamers of the tournament, the biggest game of the knockout stage in terms of opponents, and that is Saudi Arabia against South Korea. 2 of the favorites to enter the tournament, but 2 teams who went into a different direction. Both teams had some own dramas. South Korea wasn't convincing in the group stages. Let's be real. They drew against Malaysia last game, which was embarrassing. They drew against Jordan, which they should have lost that game. And of course, they beat Bahrain. But to be fair, Bahrain did quite well to compete against South Korea. On the other hand, you've got Saudi Arabia, who had their own troubles of their own leading up to the tournament, where, of course, Mancini came out and said that there was players that never wanted to play for Saudi Arabia. You've got the club captain who decided to say, I don't want to play if I'm not starting. And they've had the goalkeeper who even said the same thing. They had their own troubles, but they did quite well by beating Oman 2-1 in the last minute of the game. They beat Kazakhstan, of course, 2-0. And the last game against the tournament, they drew against Thailand 0-0, which, to be fair, they rested most of their own players. I have got this game with Saudi Arabia. South Korea, yes, they've got the pieces with Lee Kang-in and Heung-min Son, and of course other players. And bro, they've got some big players that plays around the biggest teams in the world. But I don't think Klinsmann have got them playing as a team. I feel like they've got a team who only relies on individual brilliance. Like the game against Bahrain, Lee Kang-in, like they came back with Lee Kang-in having to score a screamer out of nowhere. I don't feel like they play as a team. I don't feel like they play as a unity. I don't feel like they are as a family. The same way Japan is, for instance. I feel like Saudi Arabia have got pieces to trouble South Korea, and I feel like Saudi Arabia have got what it takes to take that further and progress to the next round. Hence the reason why I'm putting Saudi to win this game. Then we have got Bahrain against Japan. Bahrain did quite well by winning the last 2 games against Malaysia 1-0 and Jordan 1-0. On the other hand, we've got Japan, who of course won 2 out of the 3 games, and the 1 game which they lost was the game against Iraq. But I watched the game against Iraq. Japan, and we'll tell you something about Japan, yeah. Japan, they are arguably, forget arguably, they are the best team in the continent, by far. But they struggle against a team who contains, and a team who's got pace up front, and a team who picks their moment, and a team who is tactically sound. Iraq is that team. Bahrain, I don't think is that team. Hence the reason why I've got Bahrain losing this game by a 2-0 but 3-1. Bahrain likes to take risks. And against Japan, you can't do that. Because that's what Japan thrives on. That's why against Germany, against all the biggest teams, bro, they want space. They want to expose their players. They've got high, they've got fast, they've got speed, they've got pacey strikers up front who like to expose the defenders behind the back. And Iraq did quite well to contain that by having 4 men, and the second half having 5 men. Bahrain likes to take a bit of risk. Hence the reason why I've got Japan win this game by a 2-0 or 3-1. And the last game of the tournament, we've got Iran against Syria. Iran, of course, one of their favourites to win the tournament against Syria. Against Syria, who qualified just because they beat India 1-0 in the last game, which, to be fair, is not an achievement, especially where India played 3 games and they did not score 1 single goal. Iran, let's be real, they are going to win this game, and they're going to win this game by a big scoreline. Sorry, Syria. I know it's not meant to be. Of course, not picking Soma as your striker, which is crazy to say, your best player. But Iran have got too much strength, too much firepower up front, too much ability in that team, bro. Too many players that can hurt you in so many different ways. I've got Iran winning this game 3-1. So, in the quarterfinals, the first quarterfinal, we've got Qatar against Uzbekistan. This is a big game, because Qatar is the favourite of this matchup if they were to play. Uzbekistan can hurt you, but I don't think it'll be enough to beat Qatar. Because I feel like the host nation, and having the crowd, and having the home stadium, and the country backing them, I feel like will be too much for Uzbekistan, even though Uzbekistan does have some 5 pieces there and there, but defensively they're not as strong. And Akram Afif, who's having a tournament of his life, Al-Mu'izz is still Al-Mu'izz and can hurt you, the top scorer of last season. And of course, having the other pieces like Haidus with experience. Hence the reason why I've got Qatar winning this game and beating Uzbekistan to qualify to the semi-final. And the other quarter-final, we've got Iran against Japan. This is one of the biggest games if they were to play. Because, bro, this is heavyweight against heavyweight. 2 of the biggest nations in the continent. But I will edge it to Japan. I don't think Iran can beat Japan. And I feel like this matchup will favour Japan so much, just because of the fact of how much space Iran will leave them at the back. And Iran, they've got wingers, and Iran, they've got players defensively that cannot match up, especially the fullbacks, that cannot match up with the pace and the ability that Japan has got with Kuba, with Maeda, with Mitoma, who could potentially come back, and especially with the midfield of Endo and Minamino. I feel like it'll be too much for Iran. And yes, Taremi can hurt Japan, but it's not going to be enough. And that's why I've got Japan beating Iran narrowly with a 2-1 to face up against Qatar in the semi-final. On the other side, we've got Saudi Arabia against Australia. Big game. Again, 2 favourites to win the tournament. But I will edge it to Saudi. I will edge it to Saudi Arabia. Australia, I've watched them throughout the whole tournament. Yes, they won every single game except for the last one. But bro, I wasn't convinced in any way throughout the whole run. India, yes, they won 2-0, but they relied on goalkeepers' mistakes in the second half. They never scored that first half. And to be fair, if you go up against Australia and if you defend with strategically as well, you can beat Australia, because defensively they're not as strong, bro. India had a couple of moments, bro, which is crazy. They had a couple of moments in that first half, even the second half, to counter attack and actually get something. Syria had the same. Syria should have scored that game, and Uzbekistan, of course, eventually did that, but they should have won that game. I feel like Saudi Arabia, they've got too much firepower. I feel like they can hurt Australia, And I don't feel like Australia is as strong as what a lot of people make it seem like, especially from what I've watched them in the group stages. That's why I've got Saudi Arabia winning this game. And then we've got Iraq against UAE. Two teams, two Khaliji teams who knows each other quite well. They've got history in the past where UAE did beat Iraq in some Asia Cup matchups. And Iraq did beat UAE in some Gulf Cup because of Khalij matchups. But in a game like this, where I feel like this game will come up to which player can bring the magic. Is it UAE with Kayo and whether Ali Makhtouf starts? Or is it Iraq with Ali Jassim, Yusuf Ayman, or whoever plays up front, whether it's Ayman, whether it's Mimi, or whether it's Ali Hamadi? But like I said, bro, I watched UAE in this tournament, and they are not good defensively. They had to rely a lot on Khalid Azi, the goalkeeper. And if you're telling me you've got a team that's struggling defensively, who's going up against a team that's got so much firepower up front, with the strikers or the midfielders, bro, I will take that all day long. That's why I've got Iraq winning this game comfortably as well. They're going to win this game 2-0 or 3-0. You'll see. And then we've got the semi-final. We've got Iraq against Saudi Arabia. And then we've got Japan against Qatar. I'm not going to give you any research. I'm not going to give you any analysis. I'm not going to give you the reason why. I'm just going to give you straight who the finalists will be. And the final of the Asia Cup 2024 will be the same two teams who faced up against each other in the group stages, Iraq against Japan. And I've got them facing up against each other in the final as well. The final will be Iraq against Japan. And the winner of the Asia Cup 2024 will be Iraq, baby! Iraq! We will win the whole thing, bro. The same way our generation back in 2007 won it. With Yunus Mahmoud, Nashan Akram, Hawad, Noor Sabri, Bassem Abbas, everyone there. Mehdi Karim, everyone there did it. This generation will do the same thing. With Zidane Iqbal, with Ali Jassim, with Ayman Hussein, with everyone there, bro. We will do history. And we will do it. And we will bring it home. And we'll make the whole nation proud. And we'll make history by winning this game. And creating history. No one has ever beaten Japan twice in the same tournament. And that's what we will be doing. Mark my words. Save this video. Like this video for you to remember. Do everything. Screenshot it. Do everything you want, bro. We are going to be beating Japan in the final of the Asia Cup. And I'll be there. I'll be there in the final. I'll be there in the stands. And my last words. Will we do it? I told you so. But guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you with some match vlogs from Qatar. Because I'll be there quite soon. And if you're there, I might see you, bro. Just shout me out. I'll see you there and I'll chill with you. I'll see you soon. Peace.